Hello everyone and welcome back to Silicon Sounds, audio for the rest of us. Today I have the distinct pleasure of reviewing the BGVP Phantom. I'd like to title this review as Vibrant and Musical. BGVP has been around for some time, churning out many respectable sets to grace our always hungry ears. While not as prominent on the scene as some others in the IM space, in my honest opinion, they really should be. The Phantom comes in somewhere in the middle of their product line, and at the time of the recording of this video, BGVP were asking $900 USD. I believe it's priced accordingly. Each gorgeous shell, and let me see if I can show you how beautiful these are. Hopefully it comes through on the camera. Each gorgeous shell includes a driver complement of 2 dynamic drivers, 2 balanced armatures, 2 EST drivers, and 2 bone conductor drivers, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2. Unlike many other IM companies, BGVP does not shy away from naming the manufacturers of these components. They proudly list the components as being manufactured from Sonion and Knowles, 2 very well-respected manufacturers in the IM space, both for their EST and BA drivers, and I believe also the bone conductors, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, are manufactured by Sonion as well. All these drivers are kept in check and under control of a 5-way crossover as well. As I've said in previous reviews, it's not the type and amount and quantity of drivers that matters, but the implementation and the tuning. And here BGVP has triumphed, doing a really standout job in integrating all of these different technologies into an IEM that truly sings. The Phantom is only moderately easy to drive and definitely benefits from a more capable source both with respect to resolution and driving power. The Phantom sound comes alive when adequately driven but may suffer when not. Tip selection is also tantamount here. It's very important and should not be overlooked, and my listening was done using some wide board tips with a moderate stem length. Something like this. Moderate stem length, fairly wide bore. Let's get into the specs, but before we do, excuse me, these are one-off videos. Before we do, I want to talk about the history of BGVP. Not the actual business history, but what they've been putting out. In the background, they've been putting out IEMs that are of extremely high quality. They don't have the output as someone of KZ, well, who does, or even a few other notable companies. But what they do is when they produce something, generally speaking, it means that it's been done with a lot of thought. Let's talk about the specs. 2 Sonion EST drivers for the treble, a Sonion BA for the mids, an additional Knowles BA, which also helps with the highs and mids, 2 graphene dynamic drivers, 2 Sonion bone conductor drivers. Sensitivity here is 107 decibels SPL per milliwatt, and impedance is on the lower side at 12 ohms. Build and fit. The Phantom is one beautiful IEM. The Phantom Special Edition, I should say, as there is one special edition also available, and I believe this is one of them. It's beautiful. Pictures really can't do justice to how this really looks and feels in your hand. On top of having a flawless finish, it's an eye catcher. The highly polished resin shells are topped off on one end with a gold nozzle. Oh, magnets are very strong here. Gold nozzle, we can see right there. And then the other end capped with tastefully done branding, which is also gold colored. Very nice. The nozzle is fairly prominent. As we can see, it not only the nozzle size, but it does stick out quite a bit right here. But it's a medium-sized IM. Regardless of his prominent nozzle, a proper fit was easy to realize, with some attention having been paid to tip selection to both achieve a good seal and better sound synergy. I don't have the full retail kit for this review, but I did have these with me. This is the case, quite beautiful. Let's look a bit at the stock cable. The stock cable is beautiful. Stunning cable. Haptics are wonderful. A little stiff, but solidly and beautifully built. Again, the coloring scheme does match the Phantom itself. Appearance, the quality, everything about this is fantastic and commensurate with the asking price. Case itself is beautifully done. Nice branding embossed on the front. It's an oval size. It is larger than your typical case, which will fit both the IAM and the cable and accessories quite easily. Very well done. Everything about the Phantom exudes quality when it comes to the retail presentation from what I received and from the pictures I have seen. But what about the sound? Let's talk about the sound. Bass. Bass is tight, clean, goes fairly deep. Doesn't go as deep as some others I've heard, but goes fairly deep, deep enough. There's just a slight focus here on sub bass over mid bass. The presentation here is more about quality as opposed to outright quantity. No, the Phantom is not bass shy, but bass heads will have to look elsewhere. It's definitely not designed for them. Those, or tuned I should say. Those who enjoy musicality though will find much to like. The bass does not overshadow the mid-range, and yet it is there providing a solid foundation. There's a richness to the tone here, which could be attributed to the bone conductor drivers working in concert with the quality dynamic drivers. Listening to 18th Street Lounging by Marcus Miller, the bass was overall very satisfying. But with a few small caveats, and when you critical listen, this is what it's all about. There are going to be caveats. Decay could be a touch longer, and the bass here is more on the dry side. This was heard on more than one track with different sources. Still, it is quite musical, and those nitpicks did not detract from the overall experience in a way that is distracting. I listened to Angel by Massive Attack. Same characteristics were noticed, but with nice control and adequate texturing, if a little dry. The mid bass is quick, taut, with good detail. There is, little if any, mid-range bleed here, the bass staying in its lane. The low end of the Phantom does satisfy, but it's tuned for musicality as opposed to over-the-top slam and power. Still well done. Mid-range. Now, with the mid-range, it's open, good clarity and detail. There's a mix of both macro and micro details heard here. The lower mids do have a touch of warmth, which added some meat to male vocals, which was very appreciated. The upper mids do see some pinna gain, but there was no harshness noted. Again, use high quality sources and high quality music files to feed it, and the Phantom will satisfy. Female vocals here are heard to be more forward than male, though both are not necessarily forward in the mix. But the female vocals are definitely more immediate than the male. Great coherence to the vocals. Vocals are done really well on the Phantom. Really nicely done. Very clean, very expressive. Note weight is acceptable, but on some occasions I would have preferred a touch more note weight. This did affect timbre in a way which again was good, but at times the lack of note weight did detract from it being perfect. Still, layering and separation is quite good, even on busier tracks. When listening to Beautiful Lie by Vic Lavender, extremely busy track, tons of percussion, great track. I was more than pleased with the Phantom's poise and ability to present all the elements in their own space. Layering and separation on the Phantom is standout. Transients and dynamics were also managed well, sounding natural. The BGVP Phantom has a mid-range, while not perfect, is suited to long listening sessions. It's not intrusive. It doesn't grind you. It just sounds good. So let's continue. It does sound good. It does really excel at all genres of music while being forgiving to less than well recorded tracks. I listened to one of my favorite albums, Anita Baker, Rapture. One of my favorite albums, but arguably not the best quality recording, and still came away pleased with how the Phantom would portray our vocals and the musical arrangements quite well. Treble. The treble here is well extended. Clean with great detail and control. Fatigue-free with no harshness. The treble rounds out the performance of the Phantom in a beautiful way. Listening to Vanston Place 12 a.m. by Ronnie Jordan, there was ample air and sparkle heard with palpable space around the treble notes. This is a treble presentation that is delightful, with nice sparkle and shimmer combined with a natural decay. Treble energy also being very wonderful. Not over the top, over ambitious, or overzealous, but just enough, and really keeping things very interesting and airy. The BGVP Phantom really has outstanding treble, icing on an already delicious cake. Imaging and soundstage. The Phantom paints a fairly large, moderately large soundstage with easy to discern space around instruments. More often than not, or I should say, this is not as common as some people may think. The Phantom's layering capability was on full display here with the wide open window type of playback that really does justice to well-recorded live and studio tracks. It was easy to get lost in the music when the music was very well recorded. For example, He's a Karaoke by Eden Atwood. Instrument placement here is precise with depth, width, and height all represented well. Very good, very well done. I was asked to include some verses. Now, I don't have the actual IEMs with me, but I'm going to compare it to the Aurelius Zalehi. This is another just under 1K IEM that I listened to recently and blew me away. But how do they compare? The Zalehi versus the Phantom. These two earphones are priced similarly, but they do sound different. The Zalehi being, in my honest opinion, in my humble opinion, the best example of a basshead IEM or basshead capable IEM. I don't want to paint it as just bass. It's not that I've ever heard. That these opinionated music lovers' ears has ever heard. With the bass, it's not even a contest. The Zalehi does win in this regard. It gets most of the points. Just a more impactful slam power, yet still poise. It just does it all. The Phantom does well, but the Zalehi is just exceptional. Mid-range is where things get much closer, both offering an open and expressive mid-range with exceptional clarity. The Phantom is a tad more forward in how it portrays the mids, with the Zalehi offering a slightly more balanced output. The upper mid-range, though, does come off as more natural on the Zalehi, though, and note weight definitely sways in that direction as well. With respect to being natural and organics, I have to give the prize to the Zalehi. In terms of mid-range, in particular upper mids and treble, probably one of the top 2 or 3 IEMs I've ever had in my ears. So the Phantom's up against a tough competitor. With treble, though, things get interesting, as the Phantom, while offering a touch more sparkle and air even, does fall behind when it comes to the natural delivery once again of the Zalehi. This is heard on cymbal brushes and strikes where the Phantom does an exceptional job. But when you listen to the Zalehi, it's beyond exceptional. It just has a level of organics that just makes it sound so, I hate to use that term, real, but more natural. Even though the treble on the Phantom is exceptional. My overall pick would be the Zalehi, as it just offers, I should say, just that next level of organic and natural playback from the lowest notes to the highest frequencies. That being said, the Phantom is probably more accessible in terms of getting one than the Aurelius Zalehi, and if you've never listened to the Aurelius Zalehi, the Phantom would do an exceptional job. Conclusion. BGVP has much to be proud about with the Phantom. It is a tour de force of tech expertly rolled into a wonderfully cohesive and engaging sonic package. The icing on the cake is the stunning quality of this IEM and its accessories. And that's just the icing on the cake. The sound is the cake. I found the BGVP Phantom to be an eminently listenable IEM. Let me repeat. I found the BGVP Phantom to be an eminently listenable IEM, which really does come to life when fed good quality recordings while being driven by quality gear. If you are after a beautifully manufactured IEM with a detailed and mature sound that lets you get the best out of the music, the BGVP Phantom should be on your list, and it comes in as recommended. I want to thank my review group, the Canuck Audioholics Review Group, up here in Canada. Just a group of really dedicated music lovers who love the music first and just love testing and listening to all kinds of gear. So shout out to them. Also, tell your friends about the site. We're making improvements in both sight and sound. Hopefully it's evident, more to come. And hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll see you on the next review from Silicon Sounds. Audio for the rest of us.